Hi, everyone. Last week in social studies, we learned about our planet. We learned about the way that the Earth is divided and the different parts of it. And this week, we are going to continue learning about that, but we're going to zoom in on one specific part of the Earth. This week, our objective is about North America. So we're going to read our objective twice. I'll read it the first time. You can read it with me the second time. I can describe how North America is divided. I can describe how North America is divided. As we're going through our lesson today, we're going to be answering the question of how is North America separated into different parts? Before we get started, we are going to do a quick review from some vocabulary we learned last week. The first word that we learned was hemisphere, and remember, this is half of a sphere. On our planet, we have 4 hemispheres called the northern, southern, eastern, and western hemispheres. That's how our whole planet is divided. We have the equator, which is an imaginary line that goes around the middle of the Earth and separates northern and southern hemispheres. The prime meridian is just like the equator. It's an imaginary line, but this one goes up and down and separates the eastern and western hemispheres of our planet. And last is continent. And a continent is a large landmass. There are 7 continents that are Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. So like I said, we are going to be focusing on North America today, and North America is where we live. For our lesson today, you can follow along using your Studies Weekly Week 3. This is in your Week 7 work packet. So I'm going to read this Studies Weekly out loud. You can follow along with me, and then there's going to be some activities at the end for you to extend your learning. This Studies Weekly is called Hot Potato. Rev loves playing hot potato. Miss Johnson passes a big globe around the class while playing music. When the music stops, whoever has the globe is it. Let's play. We're starting on the left side of our page in the box that says, "Where are we?" Rev is it. Miss Johnson asks him to look at the spot his left hand is touching. She asks what hemisphere and continent he is touching. We can play too. If your left hand is on the USA, you are touching the northern hemisphere. You are also touching the western hemisphere. You are touching the continent of North America. So the United States is in North America, and that is where we live. So we are living in the northern hemisphere and also in the western hemisphere. North America. What else is in North America? The USA, Canada, and Mexico are on our continent. We share a border with Canada to the north and Mexico to the south. What is a border? A border is the line at the edge of a country, state, or city. So if you look at our map right in the middle of our screen, I'm sorry, my dog is barking. If you look at the map in the middle of the screen, you can see there's black lines that divide Canada, the United States, and Mexico. These lines are the borders. Now, these borders on a map, you can see them very clearly, but in real life, those borders are often imaginary, especially between states and cities. Eastern and Western borders. What is on our eastern and western borders? To the east, there is the Atlantic Ocean. To the west, there is the Pacific Ocean. This is the Niagara Falls. It borders the US and Canada. How would you get there? Which way would you go? Take a moment to think about those questions. You can write them down or talk to someone at home about how you would get there and which way you would go if Niagara Falls is on the border of the US and Canada, where the arrow is pointing. Gulf of Mexico. Our southeastern states are bordered by another body of water. It is the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico also borders the eastern part of Mexico. So sometimes a border can be a border to more than one place. Like the Gulf of Mexico borders the United States and Mexico. So let's do a quick review. This is the same map from the last page. Now we see the biggest three countries are Canada, the United States, and Mexico. But there are actually 23 countries in North America. A lot of these countries are smaller countries or islands that oftentimes we can't see the names on the map because they focus on the bigger countries. So on our map right here, we see Canada, the United States, and Mexico, but there are many other countries in North America. Just like we learned on the last slide, the lines on the map show borders, but borders can be land or water. So even though we see a border on a map, like between Canada and the United States, or between the United States and the Pacific Ocean, the border is usually an imaginary line. If we went to the border of a state or a country, there might not be an actual line or wall there to show that there's a border. Sometimes you might just have a sign that says, "Welcome to whatever state or country that you just went into." Now that we've reviewed, see if you can name one land border and one water border of the USA. You can use the map to help you or go back to your studies weekly. You can write down your answers or tell someone at home what some of the borders of the United States are. Thanks for following along in your studies weekly with me this week. We've now learned about the Earth and how the Earth is divided, as well as how North America, the continent where we live, is divided. You can extend your learning with 2 pages in your Week 7 packet. On the back of your Studies Weekly, you have the page that's on the left, where you're going to fill in the places on the map. You can color the countries and then color the bodies of water as well. At the very bottom, you'll tell us what is a border and give us an example. The second page that is going to extend your learning with your Studies Weekly is called Let's Label the Globe. So you can use all of the different words in the word bank and try to label all the continents and oceans that you see. You can also label the North and South Pole. If you need to use your Studies Weekly from this week and from last week, those can help you.